Have you ever listened to a piece of music and just felt it in your bones? Like it was telling a story that was deeply personal, maybe even a little heartbreaking? Well, today, we're going to dive into how an entire artistic movement, the Romantic era, found its perfect voice in the soul-stirring music of Frédéric Chopin.
So let's start with a really big question. What happens when a whole generation of artists just decides, you know what? The heart is a much better guide than the head. That one simple idea, well, it's the key to unlocking one of the most passionate and revolutionary periods in all of art history.
And make no mistake, it really was a rebellion. We're about to see how the entire Romantic movement was this powerful emotional pushback against the ideas that had been dominating the world for decades.
So what are we talking about exactly? Well, from the late 1700s to the mid-1800s, this wave just swept across Europe, and its whole mission was to champion the inner world of the individual, all their feelings, their wild imagination, and their own unique experience.
This slide just lays it out perfectly. It was a total battle of ideas. You had the era before it, the Enlightenment, which was all about reason, logic, science, and order. And then Romanticism comes along and just flips the whole table. Suddenly it's all about raw emotion, the untamed power of nature, and the incredible force of imagination. It was a massive shift, literally, from the head to the heart.
Okay, so what did this new set of values actually look like? What was in this Romantic manifesto, so to speak? Let's break down the core principles of this whole new age.
You know, the Romantics were absolutely fascinated by these intense personal feelings, and not just love, but things like awe, a deep, lingering sadness, and this powerful sense of longing. They celebrated what made each individual unique. They saw nature as a kind of spiritual retreat, a church without walls. They were drawn to anything mysterious or supernatural, and this was also when national identity and folklore became huge, along with this iconic image of the solitary, maybe even tormented genius artist.
This brings us to a really central Romantic idea, the sublime. It's that feeling you get, right, when you're standing in front of something so vast and powerful it almost scares you, like a massive mountain range or a crazy storm over the ocean. It's this mix of awe and even a little bit of terror, an experience so overwhelming that your rational brain just can't process it.
So, how in the world do you translate all of that into music? Well, if one person was the absolute voice of Romanticism, it has to be Frédéric Chopin. This was a man who didn't just play the piano, he made it speak the language of pure emotion. He basically taught it how to weep.
And his life story, it's like it was written for the era. He was born in Poland, and his Polish heritage became this deep well of inspiration for his music, especially this constant, aching longing for his homeland after he moved to Paris, which was the absolute center of the art world back then. And he dedicated his entire tragically short life to basically one instrument. But let's get into the how. How did he actually do it? How did Chopin take all those big Romantic ideas, the passion, the sadness, the focus on the individual, and turn them into actual sound?
He completely changed what people thought the piano could do. It wasn't just a machine for structure and form anymore. In his hands, it became a vessel for the most profound personal feelings. He did this by using these really intimate genres, like the nocturne, a night piece, and by taking Polish folk dances, like the mazurka, and turning them into high art. And that wasn't just music, by the way. It was a deeply political act, tapping right into that romantic love of national identity to express this incredible sense of loss for his home country.
One of his secret weapons was a technique called rubato. It's Italian for stolen time, and this was a huge departure from the super strict metronome-like playing of the earlier classical era. The best way to think about it is like a great storyteller. They don't speak in a monotone, right? They speed up for excitement, they pause for drama. That's rubato. The right hand playing the melody might linger on a note or rush ahead, while the left hand keeps a steady beat, kind of like a heartbeat. It gives his music this incredibly personal, almost spontaneous feeling. It's the sound of freedom. And here's the crucial thing to understand. Yeah, Chopin's music is ridiculously hard to play, but it was never about showing off. Every single one of those complex runs, every one of those rich, surprising harmonies, it was all there for one reason, to go deeper into the emotional story. The technical skill always served the feeling.
So that brings us to the big question, right? Why? Why over 170 years after he died does Chopin's music still have this incredible power to just get to us?
It's because he basically unlocked the soul of the piano. He showed the entire world that this one instrument, these hammers and strings,
could be a tool for deep thinking, for telling epic stories, and for expressing a basically limitless range of human emotion. He gave the piano a voice, a profoundly personal one, that still speaks directly to us today.
So I'm going to leave you with this thought. The next time a piece of music gives you chills or makes you feel something powerful, whether it's joy or sadness, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, am I hearing an echo of that great rebellion of feeling? Am I listening to the soul of Romanticism?